Hey guys, welcome to Gather Around by ATL Committee. I am one of your hosts, Morgan Green, aka Morgizzle, and I am with the Honorable Renato, aka Spud Hood. And I'm with the very, very, very lovely Remy with the I, not a Y.
That's it.
And so today we have a very, very special episode for you. Right now, we understand the climate that we're in. We're in a political climate, as we already know. Yeah. All of us are probably getting a lot of texts about voting registration, who to vote for, etc., etc.
Crazy with the text,
right? It's super annoying. I got it.
Right? Like I got the text.
How are they able to do that?
I think it's all public
records.
You
can unsubscribe, but still, it's
how many times I have done that?
Yeah. Calls, everything. Yes. Then I met somebody at the bar last year, a couple of years ago, and it was like, I'm like, listen, brother, I think you're following me now. I'm going to vote. All right.
I got it. I'm going to cast my ballot.
Well, you saw somebody at the bar and they was talking about registering to vote?
Yeah. So they work for some a particular party, and they were telling me about it. And I actually basically have databases to kind of get everyone's information. Yeah. That's what they were saying. So today is a very special episode. As I was saying, that we all know the climate that we're in right now. And obviously it's voting season.
It is.
Right? And when it comes to voting, it's very, very important for you to understand who you're voting for, what policies you're voting for. And granted, we are not political activists, but this is the current trend that we're seeing online. We want to kind of break things down. So today we're going to talk about Project 2025. We're going to talk about what is it, a few things in it, and what you should be aware about it. And also we have a link in the bio for you guys to look into it for yourselves and just educate yourselves. All right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
How you guys feel about it? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready. This is going to be different, but I think it's necessary. I mean, part of our platform isn't just to be funny and entertaining.
Yeah.
It is to be educational. It is to be a resource. It is to be factual.
Yeah.
So that's just what we're diving into. We're not coming from a biased standpoint. Everything we're saying today is factual. It's coming from verified sources. We're not utilizing Shade Room and Twitter. We've actually done our research, and we're just trying to spread the word educationally, factually. Like Morgan said, we're not political gurus. We don't work for any political networks. We just did our due diligence, and we're just going to deliver this unbiased, educationally, from a politically resourceful standpoint. That's all we're looking to do today.
You know what's so funny? I remember when I first voted a couple years ago.
How'd you feel?
What who was running when you voted? You remember?
I bet you it was Obama.
It was. I was 18.
Me too.
I was 18. Well, who was yours? Hillary? No, not Hillary. Bill.
I ain't that old. That was in the 90s.
I know. I think it was the year I was like born.
I think my first one was Obama too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what?
That was crazy.
And I didn't really do that much research, actually. And I only voted at that time period for the presidential election. I didn't vote for any type of local election at all.
I didn't either.
Which is very, very important as well as the president, because you can actually walk outside and look around your neighborhoods, your stores, your streets, whatever, just in your eyesight. That's what you're voting for when it comes to your local elections.
Mm-hmm.
People who's going to take care of that stuff.
That's true. Some people would argue that it's more important.
Yeah.
That is, right.
Because that kind of affects your day-to-day a little bit more than what's coming out of Washington.
School, your kids, if you got kids. Schools.
Sidewalks, the hourly rate for your state, for minimum wage, the cost of medication.
So why isn't that more popular than the presidential election?
Because I think it's what the media pushes.
Yeah.
I really think it's what the media pushes. And it's like...
Well, there's more money probably going into the presidential elections.
I'm sure.
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, these candidates are raising hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Like in a day.
But the last time I really seen one go real crazy, local election, how this election is going, was Herschel Walker and was it Reverend Warnock?
Okay, and it went crazy when Stacey Abrams won.
Right.
That was big in Georgia. We live in Georgia. If you don't know, we live in Georgia.
All they had to say is weed.
Yeah, and it was everybody was running to the
Cannabis.
That'll get certain people to the polls.
And it actually did.
Yeah, that was interesting.
She knew her audience. Right. All right, yeah, so let's get into it. So
let's do it.
Today we're talking about Project 2025. Let's talk about this. Well, let's talk about what is it. Let's start there. So according to Google, Project 2025 is also known as a 2025 Presidential Transition Project. It is a political initiative published by the Heritage Foundation that aims to promote conservative and right-wing policies to reshape the United States federal government. All right? So let's talk about what's in it.
Let's do it.
Can't talk about everything that's in it.
We'd be here all day.
Right.
The document is over 900 pages. We would literally be here.
Yeah.
And we actually going to put the PDF file in the description in the video.
Check that out.
So you all can skim through it because I don't know if you all are going to be reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And I've heard of people working on an app to make it more digestible for people. I love TikTok. The power of TikTok is just so popular.
The power of social media when it's used correctly is like worth something money can't buy. Like social media is
right. That's why we coming on here to inform y'all because we know that y'all not going to go do the research yourselves. Some of you are not going to watch the news. Right. Is it CNBC?
CNBC,
yeah,
Fox,
you're not going to watch that.
ABC,
but you'll come to YouTube and you'll come mess with us.
Well,
we're going to inform you.
We're going to get you right.
We're going to get you right.
Right. But I kind of feel like that is because I feel like it's more digestible on social media.
Yeah.
And because we get to see clips or maybe like a 30-minute episode of something that you're kind of already a fan of. And I actually really see a lot of people that I know personally will vote in the direction of whomever they're actually following. So without them doing their own individual research, which I encourage everyone to do, including the individual I'm referring to. But so I kind of get how powerful YouTube can be as well.
That's true.
Yeah, not just YouTube. But
there's a lot in here. And I feel like
coming to build a network.
Oh,
Renato. Remy,
I'm going to dive in. I'm going to start. And I think one of the main things about Project 2025 that stand out for me because it resonates personally. Episode 1, I talked about going to grad school.
Yeah.
Education isn't cheap. I don't feel like that's right, but it's just the fact of the matter. A reason a lot of people don't want to go to college is because it's like, I graduate and I have $40,000 worth of college debt, but I can't even get a job that pays me that to pay it back. So right now, the Biden administration had passed 2 repayment plan options. One was income-driven repayment plan, and the other one is called a SAVE plan. When I first graduated, they reached out to me. Nelnet is who my student loans are through.
Mine too.
Yours too? A lot of us probably. And they wanted me to pay like $772 a month.
Straight out of
college. Now, I think a lot of us have that experience where it's like, hold on.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated 2017. Kennesaw State, go Owls. So yeah,
go Owls.
Owl too.
I'm just trying to think, what was the price of just rent?
So that degree, and let's be honest, a lot of people were misusing the system because you're taking out a loan. They're telling you can get this amount of money. You don't even need that amount of money to go to school, but you're taking it because it's like free money, but you have to pay that back.
Yeah.
So the way this plan is set up, and I quote, the IDR is the income-driven repayment plan. So underneath Project 2025, according to my source, which is AmericanProgress.org and ConsumerLawAndPolicy.org, Project 2025 is looking to eliminate income-driven payment plans. I feel like, and maybe you can chime in from a realtor perspective, you do have to somewhat have your student loans under control, right? It is a debt. And even if you can't clear it, it's important to show some type of effort towards paying them down, right? Especially when you're looking to acquire an asset. The only way I think some people are able to pay these loans is because the amount that they're paying monthly is feasible.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't have a payment plan option that's feasible, if they would have slammed me with that $772, out the gate, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah, you had to go back home.
I would be delinquent. My loans would be delinquent. I wouldn't be able to pay that, or I would have to like go back home.
Wait, can I break? So basically you're saying that it's getting rid of the payment plans or?
Right. So right now, payment plans are based on income. They're based on savings, trying to make things more affordable, based on household size, income amount, how many dependents you may have, what other debts and obligations you may have. You fill all that out. When you do your income-driven repayment plan, because that's what I'm on now, you fill all of that out. They ask for everything. And then they take that into consideration. They say, how's this amount for this many years or this amount for this many years? And you pick.
Yeah, I'm currently on it.
Yeah, me too. And right now, like everyone's loans have been defaulted until further notice because as of today, effective 28th of August, they shut it down. The House shut down the student loan forgiveness plan again. So Nelnet was like, hey, your loans are on hold. Like they're just in default because there's so many changes going on with the administration. If Project 2025 comes into fruition, one of the high level points they've discussed, it would be, so the plan has been highly contested and even blocked in federal court. Right. So typical borrowers across the board will pay anywhere between $2,700 to $4,000 more a year in payments if the Project 2025 information comes to fruition. So those who attended college but didn't graduate, their payments will triple. So I think a lot of people, when they hear about student loan debt, is like, I don't care. I didn't graduate. You should care. You should care because you're going to be required to pay it back too.
Punishment for them not finishing?
That's what I found interesting. They didn't finish and their rates on average, their payment on average will triple in comparison to those who did graduate and obtain their education. That's
so they're penalized for it.
Yeah, because I'm saying that's not, even though they didn't graduate, I guess it's still not, like, it's not fair.
It's not fair. So I feel like this option helps people qualify to buy homes because it's like, I am making payments on it. You know, I'm taking accountability for my debt. And this happened to me when I purchased a home. I had student loan debt. I didn't have grad student loan debt. I just had undergrad student loan debt. And my loan officer said, you know, as long as you can show active monthly payment, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. But if you're not paying on it, that's a problem.
Like with the thing, as far as like at this moment, you don't have to pay on it.
Right. Mine are stopped until November of next year.
Right.
Oh,
so
really?
Do they still count that against you? Do they still want to see you pay? Okay. So when if you in that
if you're in that group, like I could just show them my letter from Nelnet, cool. Like, hey, if you ever go into this default period, you can still make payments on your own leisure, interest free. So somebody who's looking to get at the head of the game, smart. If they giving you that 18-month period where they say, hey, we'll default your loans for now, there's a lot going on, you can still tack on that interest free.
That's very smart.
And get ahead of the game. However, having a monthly payment that you can afford will not be an option anymore. Even for those of us that are surviving and make good money, that's great. But I don't have $772 to give student loans. That's almost rent for somebody's studio apartment.
I don't even think if you didn't take no loans out and you just pay out of pocket, I don't even think it'll be that high if you just paid out of pocket.
Probably not.
As far as payment.
Your monthly payment.
Because I know tuition is still high, but maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. So I was like, that stood out to me just because I'm someone who has acquired debt. I feel like my debt was worth it because of what my education has done for me. So it's like, I understand I acquired the debt. I understand I'm responsible for paying it back. I know that. I don't mind that. I just want to be able to make payments in a way that's feasible for my lifestyle and for my finances. So I appreciate that being an option. And no matter who is in that position of president, I feel like that should still be an option for us who are actually at least trying to pay it.
So do you feel that it affects a certain group of people more than others?
I do. I think it affects people who don't have the funds to pay as is. That's almost like if your bank account goes negative and then they hit you with a $35 fee for going underneath your balance. They didn't even have the money to bring their account up to baseline. And now you're attacking me again. So I feel like that's going to affect the population who already feels strapped for their funds with things being as expensive as they are, people having as many responsibilities as they have. That's going to affect anybody who's not just rolling in the dough.
So is that where DEI comes in?
Now, I feel like that's where the Department of Education comes in, which is also what I had looked into for Project 2025. If this comes into fruition under a new administration, they're looking to eliminate the Department of Education. So I had to do my research on that.
Which would do what?
So if reflected in Project 2025 is put into effect, it will eliminate the Department of Education altogether. Now, I was like, what does the Department of Education do?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, the people who teach. Like my sister's a teacher. I'm like, oh, it's just the teachers.
They really just put out what they want you to teach. Department of Education makes it to where like whatever area you in, you have a Department of Education that you go to, and they have I think I'm gonna say this word right, a curriculum that you should teach by.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I had to look that up.
If they take it away, then it's almost like, well, if we take this away, then maybe the government or they will be able to come in and say, we want you to teach.
Replacing
this.
it with what?
And okay, so it says currently the Department of Education oversees federal education policies, programs, and funding from all grades K through 12 to post-secondary institutions. They administer federal financial aid programs, collect data, and ensure compliance with federal laws regarding civil rights and equal access to education. I said, whoa, they do a lot.
And equal access
to education. It's not just lesson plans, curriculums, policies.
Supposed
equal
to make sure
access to education.
Fair on this side of town and on this side of town.
Correct.
But that's already an issue now.
That's an issue now. So that's why it's like if they wanted to like loop under the Department of Health, and then the Department of Health will distribute those funds. But it really would affect Georgia. There's only a group of states in the United States that it would really make a big difference for, and Georgia is one of them because a handful of states, including Georgia, would lose critical funding for underfunded, overwhelmed public school districts. Atlanta Public Schools, over 70% of the students are economically below poverty. So if you take away the Department of Education in an area that's already underfunded, where are they going to get those funds? Where are they going to get those resources and those tools? They can't get it from home. 70% of all the kids in the district are poor.
So what is that going to force them to do? Like if they don't have their education or just getting a bad education, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like
that's not going to be good. I don't even think teachers are going to want to teach. Look how many teachers didn't even want to teach after COVID. I mean, there's so much. I feel like that industry is already very volatile. Education in general, the way children are behaving now. So many kids have IEPs. They're getting pushed through. Yeah. They can't even read. By the time they get to like 7th grade, they're on 4th grade reading levels. Teachers don't have support. They're buying their own school supplies. Like it's already a broken system.
Yeah.
So instead of taking a look at things and trying to improve, you're just going to eliminate it. And that is very dangerous for teachers. Yes. That is very dangerous for students who don't have resources at home.
Yeah.
Society, there's no structure.
You know what's so funny? I feel like our group of people, our age group, you too. I'm kidding. I feel like it's so important for us to vote. And the reason why, everyone, but the people that's really going to be affected by it is going to be our children. You know what I mean? True. And their children.
That's true.
Especially because if you think like the older generation, your aunts, uncles, grandmas, I mean, it's obviously they need to vote as well. But I mean, next 20 years, this is not going to affect them.
Yeah, they're not going to college.
Right.
They're not going back to elementary school.
But we kind of already in that. We are kind of already in that era where
the millennial,
our grandparents and great grandparents fought for us to vote.
Right.
But then we didn't got to the generation where we're so far removed from that era of feeling and seeing what they went through and did for us to vote.
Right.
That we kind of take it for granted.
So nonchalant about it.
And you know what's so funny? They're actually trying to take away some of that history so you don't even know. So if we're so far removed now, imagine what history is going to look like in years to come.
Anybody can write it.
Right.
There's nothing there to reference.
Because that's something that you can say when you want somebody to vote.
That's deep.
You can say like, listen, our people fought for us to vote.
No, they didn't.
For y'all.
Yeah, they're
Think
gonna be like,
about it.
how
No,
you
they
know?
didn't. How you know?
Where's that at?
I never read that
There
before.
you go.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
And it's going to sound like one of the, especially when you're a kid, you know how you hear, like your, like the older generation will be like, "Oh, I'm pro-black, and back in the day, this happened. I'm like, okay, auntie.
Yeah, it's like
until you get older.
now
Yeah.
it's like this was important. Back,
Like,
my aunt was
it
back
actually
there.
did happen.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? I don't mean to say this because he's been joking, but I'm not that old. Okay, let me say that. But my daughter asked me, was I around with Martin Luther King?
Right.
Wow.
And I said, baby, I'm
She
not
really
that,
wasn't even trying to
I'm
be
not
funny,
that
though.
old. She's like,
not
but
even
you was
trying to be
born
funny.
in the 19s.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a thing?
Listen,
The 19s?
we call him Brother
Is that
Fossil
what-
over here. This is what
Is that what these kids saying? The 19s.
Oh, I've been told I'm old.
Me
I had a group of
too.
teens call me like, you know how at the store you'll see somebody
But
older. It's
y'all was
like,
born in the 19s though, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, y'all
What do you
old.
mean?
Oh, maybe y'all
Nobody
was
ever
born in-
seen you at the store and been like, "What's up, Like nobody's
Yeah,
ever.
Somebody
somebody told me that one time.
they did it on dating apps too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like,
Somebody told me I gave Unc vibes. I was at a bar and I didn't understand what, like, because I was looking at myself like, what am I? Am I looking like an old guy? Am I looking like the guys that I used
If
to?
they calling
call
you
them?
that's crazy.
I remember
But they were young though, so
Yeah, we're getting up there.
I commented on a page. I think it was like something, not Hollywood Unlocked. What's the online page from Hollywood Unlocked?
It's on site.
Oh yeah, it's on site. So there was I'll never forget it. So there was a video of someone like making donuts in the street or whatever, and everyone's like, yeah, like laughing and giggling. And I commented, I'm like, this is not funny, guys, or whatever. I'm like, someone could have got hurt. And then everybody came for me. It was like, okay, uncle, okay, principal. And I'm like, oh my God.
So Karen.
It's like, yeah, just forget it.
It was quite dangerous because I mean, like the kids were like filming someone
And
doing
sometimes
donuts
those cars are like
randomly.
I've seen
and they were right there.
Some people get hit.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of videos.
You
where
try
they
to
got
express
hit.
concern. It's like you
Wow.
being old. All right,
Well, why'd you get in front of the car?
get hit then. Yeah,
Hanging out the window,
Right.
all that.
And then, like, you know how back in the day we used to run in fights and just gotta
Yeah.
kind of watch a fight?
they break out now. I'm out of there.
Bye.
Bye.
Listen, my daughter showed me. My daughter is 11 years old. She just showed me a video of a boy and a girl fighting on the bus,
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
and I was like,
Did the girl hit him first? Like, what happened? I'm not saying that that's justifiable, but I just wanna know.
I don't know who hit first. I just know the video. They were fighting. It was a girl and a boy. And in
That's
my
crazy.
head, because the bus driver had to pull over to stop the
Yeah.
fight. But in
Yeah.
my head, I'm like, you
It's
can
bad.
hear a boy in the background saying, what he was saying, don't let her do you like that. Get her. And I'm like, nobody ain't gonna break it up. It's a girl and a boy.
No. Nobody breaks anything up anymore. They don't. They just start recording.
crazy.
That's terrible if you're a student. Imagine if you
Yeah,
got
but
beat
we
up
we
and then
getting
it's
off topic
recorded.
on
Yeah,
2025.
sorry.
We didn't start
Well,
running our mouth.
I know those were my two high level takeaways because I've personally been affected or impacted by educational loans.
Yeah.
And I've also seen improvement to my life now that I have
Yeah.
the option to seek payment plans that are feasible.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I never experienced that because the reason why one of the reasons why I was able to go to college is because I was on the VA loan. If you guys didn't know, you guys know.
Yeah,
I was in the
we-
military,
Yeah.
the United States finest Navy, the only
Oh,
Navy.
Lord.
Right. In the US. But because of that reason, I was able to go to college. So I'm so grateful. It's like full ride scholarships.
Yeah.
I did have an obligation to pass my classes. But you know, looking back, I'm like seeing how many of my peers from high school, people that I know now, like have so much debt from college.
Yes.
I know somebody who has over $100,000 in debt just from a bachelor's degree.
That's crazy.
Right.
Over 100?
Over 100.
Some universities
How
are
do you
so
even-
expensive.
And plus,
it
yeah,
was
let's just-
$25,000 a year.
yeah. Well, some,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that'll do it.
It's $25K a year.
And don't fail
You paying
anything.
$12K
Yeah.
a semester.
Right.
That's what I'm finna say.
And what
Yeah,
happens if you-
one semester you fail? You over
You're
100.
paying $12K a semester with room, board,
And you got to,
education. That's about right.
and don't change your degree. If you change
the
it,
And then you
Average
got to start over
probably-
and start taking some classes you didn't take before.
right, or
It's
add
probably
another
5
2 years.
It's a lot of people
I am
graduate
gonna
3 to
see
4, but
On
average
average,
college
yeah.
debt.
5 years. Don't pledge or play sports. And you're trying to, special football, because they come in, you're red shirt freshman, you get an extra year. You want to stay there extra year.
Yeah. So, so one of the things that I read about Project 2025 that kind of stood out to me. Now, granted, I don't have any children right now. We'll soon. But I've read that they are trying to make a requirement for any student going to a public school to be required to take the ASVAB test. All right. So basically, that is the armed service. Again?
In
public school.
So not
public.
Because isn't the ASVAB a test you take when you want to get in the military?
But it will be a requirement for public students to take that. And so that is the Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. Now, the issue with I remember studying for the ASVAB, you know what I mean? And I remember like taking these practice exams online and all the pressure of getting a great score in order to get into the military and then get a good job.
A program you want,
in the military, because the lower your score, the more likely you're just going to have to take a job that you really don't want. Like, and granted, just because you start at that job doesn't mean you're going to end at that job. They have opportunities for you to scale into different rates, at least in the Navy. But you can literally Christmas tree the test on the ASVAB and still get a high enough score to get in the military. And the reason why I say that is because the ASVAB is measured out of 100 points. So let's say that you can Christmas tree, you can get a 25 and still pass. And the fact that I'm
passing,
right,
out of 100, you just need 25.
25, and I've actually known people to get a 21 and get a waiver into the military. Yes. So making it a requirement, because I'm like, right. So I think it's so interesting because I'm like, if you're in high school,
what are they going to do?
Bring them into the military
and do what with a score that low?
Security. You can stand and watch. Get you a gun, stand and watch. You'll be fine.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
You'll be fine.
I'm joking when I'm saying that, but I'm like,
they'll find something for you to do.
Right. And just hearing and reading about like what else the other things that are in the Project 2025, I'm like, okay, this is eye opening. Uh-oh, man. About to hit something.
No, that was just a gnat flying over your head.
Don't freak me out. I run. I'm kidding.
Get it, Ronaldo. You got it.
I was trying to look cool on camera by spot.
Morgan sensed it.
No, I'm like, I saw you.
It was literally a gnat.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Because if it's a bee, spider, bug, we'd have been out. Listen.
Session over.
I'm Spider-Man. I'm so done. So, and I was thinking, like I have younger siblings. Well, a younger sibling. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe that. But like by the time she would get to high school, she'll be able to, I hope, figure out the rate that she wants to go. But according to the new laws, it'll be like, hey, you have to take the ASVAB to get into. And if they need you to get into be in the military, what choice would she have? You know what I mean?
Because they already know you can't.
They already got your score.
Right. And right.
Halfway there.
And I just was like, dang, life is changing so much. And I think it's kind of unfair to make a requirement for public students to do it and not private people who are going to private schools. But that's a whole nother conversation about that too.
Well, you can probably understand somebody who's in private school that's probably paying tuition. So they highly unlikely for that student to be able to that student probably will be able to go to college and get college paid for by the parent.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know how many kids are going to private school and then going to the military.
That's what I'm saying.
They're going to private school. They're going to college.
Right.
Even if they don't have a scholarship.
Right.
Yeah. Because you got to think about that too. Because if I'm paying for my child to go to private school and you want to go to military, I mean, I guess you got to support them either way.
I know somebody in private school. It's college tuition already.
Yeah.
Oh, private schools are high.
Yeah.
So if you paying
and
it's
hard to get into sometimes.
Yeah, but go ahead, more.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to know what your sentiments were in regards to the ASVAB and making a requirement because you do have some children.
Sometimes I wish I would have went into the military. So I don't think going into the military is a bad thing. I wouldn't want them to go into the Marines, but I think it'll be good for them to take that test just to have it on file, just in case if they did want to go, is they halfway there. You know what I mean? So I mean, because look at all the benefits you can get for joining the military.
Yeah.
If you look at the good, because I mean, the bad is when you getting shipped over there for war for umpteen years. You know, we've been somewhere that we don't supposed to be. That's a bad thing. But as far as like getting out, having a job, being able to get the VA, my stepdad, every time he's sick right now, but every time something happens to him, he's straight. He VA hospital.
Yeah.
My dad went to the VA hospital when he had cancer. Everything paid for.
Well, in Project 2025,
they're gonna take it away.
They're trying to take away military benefits. Right. So I didn't read anything specifically saying what those benefits would be, but part of being in the military, right? Well, yeah, but part of being in the military is actually receiving the benefits once you get out. And some of the benefits are education. Some of the benefits are health. And the list goes on. But imagine going into the military and coming out and not having those benefits anymore. And you're almost forced to get into there.
Pretty much over there fighting for the benefits.
Yeah, I'm not just for the benefits, but you're fighting just knowing that you're going to be taken care of. Right. I feel like when you go into the military, and it's actually a great segue to what I'm going to say next. I feel like a lot of parents, a lot of children and kids, whoever want to go into the military, want to go in there with the expectation of coming out a better version than they were when they actually came in. Looking back, I can definitely say that when I was in the military, went into the military, I was like, you know what? I was so lost. I was 18 years old and I have got so much structure. I have learned so much. I had a smart mouth. I kind of still do, just a little bit, just teeny bit. But I just learned so much just getting leaving from the military. And that was my really college experience. Because by the time I got out, I did my 4 years, got out, and I went to college. Like that was... I guess I feel like I missed out on the college experience. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the military was definitely that for me. So quite interesting. But there's something else inside of Project 25 I wanted to talk to you about. It said there's a chapter dedicated to the defense, and it's authored by a former defense official. And it basically is saying, it plans to bolster the use of Insurrection Act to deploy the military within the United States for law enforcement. It also says that it injects the ranks with radicalized troops loyal to the MAGA agenda, including reinstating those discharged for refusing for the COVID vaccine. So when I was reading that, I was trying to unload that. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it was saying in regards to inject the ranks with people who are extremists, because basically it's, in my mind, it's saying that if the commander-in-chief, which would be the president, right, is basically saying, hey, I want to order you to kill our group of people. And we also have heard different political candidates say, oh, we can just shoot the protesters or whatever. Why not? Why not? And one person said, hey, we shoot him in the leg. Other person, just shoot him, period, make him stop.
Right.
You know what I mean? And literally on camera. So if the commander-in-chief were to have an order to do so, and let's say that logically you're saying, hey, I'm not going to do that, because technically inside of the military, there is something called the UC&J. So UC&J is basically saying, there's something in it saying that if you feel like you are getting an order that is unlawful, that you're not obligated to do it. So if they're trying to dismantle that and say, we're going to only inject people who think like me inside of the military, and if you don't obey, then I'm going to remove you. Number one, what does removing you look like? Are you going to be honorably discharged?
Are you going to incarcerate me?
Like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, well, why would you put that in writing for an agenda of yours? Like, what are your motives behind that? And to me, that is so scary, because I'm like, this kind of reminds me of different historical things that happen worldwide. And this looks like the formula to kind of get it to that same place.
Look like
you know what I mean? I'm trying to leave some things out, but you know what I mean? So but it's just like, wow. I'm like, can you imagine if you're getting an odd order to harm somebody?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, it sounds like someone reading that, it sounds like they want to be a dictator, because we was talking about it before. It just sounds dictatorish. I don't even know if that's a word, but because it's like, what's the guy from North Korea? Kim Jong-un?
Yeah.
Dictatorship.
It's kind of like him. You can't speak bad about him. You can't go against him or do anything wrong, because he probably get you killed.
To be the forever president.
Yeah.
And but that's not a joke. That's exactly what it is. If you read the documentation, that is exactly what they're trying to do. They're not hiding anything right now. They're only hiding it in the books because people probably not going to read it anyway.
Even if it gets to that point, let's just say if I was that person and we got it to that point where it was a forever president, anybody who would probably try to run against me, I'll probably just assassinate him.
Take him out.
Yeah.
And
And basically,
then people get the message and be like, don't run against him.
You see what I'm saying?
You're going to get taken out.
Kind of just wait till you die off.
No, but then it will get passed on to that person's children.
But that sounds like king type of thing.
Oh, like the British family?
Yeah. You can pass it on. He can, let's say that hypothetically someone who's in their 80s, right, is going to be president. What may be president in their mind, at least. Let's say that that you only have like, I don't want to say 20 years in office, but let's say 10, just to be safe.
Yeah,
a little bit older,
you're 80.
Right? Naturally, you're going to try to pass the torch to your children. Right. You know what I mean? You're going to try to groom them to who you want them to be and continue the agenda. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting time to say the least. You know what I mean? And that is something that is going to affect everyone, because if you have the military to take over the job of a police officer, it's going to be crazy.
It is.
But yeah. But what do you have to say? What's your sentiments?
What stood out to you?
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of things, but I'm gonna just talk about two. One of them that I saw, and I actually saw this in a city council meeting, where a father went to the city council meeting and he was reading a passage from a book that his son, who was in elementary, checked out of the library, and he was reading it, and it was so explicit that they was trying to stop him from reading it. And his rebuttal was, why are y'all trying to stop me from reading this book when this is something that's in a elementary library?
Right.
You know what I mean? So they do have that in one of the things is basically saying removal or restrict access to certain books, advocating for removal or restriction of books that include explicit sexual content. And in that book, it actually was describing someone giving oral. And this is elementary school.
You know what?
I don't even think they do that. I don't even think you talk about that as sexual ed in high school, do you?
No,
but you talk about getting herpes, so you might touch on that.
Ooh. Wait,
they do. They talk about herpes.
They do.
But
they
like
do.
in
I mean, at that point, you almost 18.
Talk about it in high school, but like,
you're not doing sex ed in elementary? No,
right? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know how I feel about that, because I'm like, it's almost like reading. Even if you put it in a romance novel, I wouldn't want my elementary kid student to read that. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like soft something. Can we say the word?
We just won't say it, but y'all.
Right. It's just kind of like, and oh my God. Why? Like, why is it there in the first place?
Imagine your kid come home in elementary. You see the book on the counter, and you just, what is this?
Now they know more about it
than
you.
You're looking like,
yeah, this is like.
And he can check this out at the library.
That's crazy. The public library, school library.
Project 2025 does eliminate some of those, but also it talks about LGBTQ plus themes. Now, with that, I do think, and I always said that when I was a kid, I knew a guy in my neighborhood. I knew a couple guys in my neighborhood who I've been knowing since they were little kids, and of course they were gay all the way back then. I would say, just putting it out there, they gay now. They don't hide about it now. You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking, like, it's just like you would want to see like a black superhero, or you want to see yourself in these movies or these books, I mean, you kind of want to see these kind of things. So it's kind of a catch-22 kind of thing. You if you're leading with this, but you're taking out a whole bunch of other stuff with it, but you're putting this on the front end, and not just LGBTQ. You got stuff about our history that they're trying to remove too. They don't want in Florida. What's the DeSantis want to take away? Talking about pretty much what people did to African Americans.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure they're going to probably do it with the Jews as well, with the Holocaust. If they're taking away stuff like that, then who knows how far they're going to go. Okay, so the next one that I wanted to touch on was really talking about abortion. And I'm not really going to get too much into abortion because, of course, her body, her choice. I'm not a woman. So I'm not here to tell a woman what to do with their body. But what I will say about one thing that it says in the actual book on page 450, it talks about from the moment of, these people are saying that from the moment of conception, the sperm meeting the egg. So this means they actually have it in here that they're going to even take away like Plan B pills. They don't even want those.
I didn't know that. Oh wow.
They're going all the way down.
Contraception.
Yeah, they're going all the way down to that.
Right.
Now I don't know about
All right, how come we can still have condoms?
So because
we need wait a minute.
The eggs would never meet the sperm would never meet the eggs if you use condoms.
Oh,
but
right.
Because it's supposed to.
But you take away
a
woman's way of saying, I don't want to be pregnant, because they don't even want women to take birth control. But because a man can still strap up.
Exactly.
And a man can control what he does and doesn't do. But a woman, they don't want insurance companies to cover birth control.
I did not know that.
And it's so
Plan B pills are going to be illegal.
I have 2 kids, and I've been in the room each time when my kids was born. And it's a lot on a woman's body to have a baby. Okay? So some women just don't want to go through that, and they should have the choice not to go through that.
Yeah.
That's going to increase the population by a lot.
Listen, you got enough people out here having babies. Okay, Nick Cannon and Future are doing a good
and
amount,
Cam Newton
doing a good amount with just them 3. That will be okay.
And that's 3 out of billions.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on now. But I know in some countries,
man,
they're like paying women not to have babies. I think it's China, because they don't want to increase the population anymore. Mm-hmm. I'd rather you take that approach. Tell women you'll give them money if they don't have babies. Yeah. But I feel like some women wouldn't be so objective to like, you can't tell me what to do, if you were just saying, hey, I'll pay you. Just wait a few years before you have a kid. Yeah. They'd be like, all right, cool.
Because the best
way to tell me if you have one, if you get pregnant, you gotta have that kid.
Because we know a lot of times how these things happen. You got the R word that women go through, and you mean to tell me you want this lady to go 9 months? Because if she cares, it's going to be a lot of stuff she can't do that she ain't even plan on doing, that now she has to do. And then she has to be constantly reminded of that time.
There's somebody did that to her.
Then put in an adoption as well. That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Put them up for adoption.
I mean, you have that right, but
that's terrible.
You got to go
now. Forced to do that.
You got to go 9 months.
And no one tells men what to do. No one passes laws like, if you get a woman pregnant that's not your girlfriend, you got to have a vasectomy. No one says that. Like, no one tries to control how often men reproduce.
Yeah, because that is a way.
Reproduce or don't reproduce. Like, no one's trying to control men. It's just women. You want to tell women what they can and can't take. Women what they can and can't do. And it's men making the rules. I'm tired of it.
You know what? I'm interested in, not in really, but if that were to happen, right? I wonder what would happen. Like, would more females get surgeries done so they can have babies?
So that doesn't happen to them when they're forced to have one?
Right. And then I'm
would it be more safer as far as not just out here having sex.
And then my secondary question is, at what age do you speak to your child about birth control? You know what I mean?
Wouldn't be no birth control.
No, naturally, what age do you speak to your child about birth control?
When and you so that I feel like by 9th grade, most women of young girls are having that talk.
Well, as soon as they come on their period, they should have it because at that point,
their body can produce a baby.
Right.
And then,
they might not be sexually active, so there's no.
Well,
but if they are,
you don't know.
Then will we have an increased number of teen pregnancies? You know what I mean?
Because they what's going to happen if they didn't have the option to get an abortion? I don't know.
Or just contraception, just in general, not just
birth
abortion.
Control in general, right?
So I wonder what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
What's really the numbers on? Why are y'all even worried?
Well, for some people, it's a religious standpoint, and if that's where you stand, I understand.
Religious based.
If you just believe it's a sin, or you believe it's not looked at as favorable by God, I'm not going to argue that. But if you just feel like you just are entitled to an opinion over a woman's body and it's not coming from a standpoint outside of what you believe spiritually, I don't even know why you're sharing your opinion.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So this is ATL Committee Project 2025 Part 1. We do have a couple of things coming up for you guys we're super excited about. And so just stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right, ATL Committee out.
Peace.
Peace.